Okay, awesome. So today we're going to talk through the Backdoor Roth tax strategy. And it's an amazing strategy. It has a terrible name, but we'll just talk through the basics on what it is. Major tax savings. So if you do this strategy each year, you can save the equivalent of $20K per year on lifetime taxes. The Wall Street Journal calls it the best gift that you could give to the next generation. It's also very common. So every year, probably $68 billion travels through this exact tax strategy, and 60% of that is from six-figure earners. So a strategy that's really loved by the 1%. Last thing is, I get the question often, is this sketchy, is this legal? It's entirely blessed by Congress. Actually, in 2018, they weighed in on it and they said, yes, it has our seal of approval. So let's talk about what it even is. So I'm gonna start with what is a Roth IRA, and then we'll talk about the backdoor part. So an IRA is an individual retirement account, right? And so this is Uncle Sam's way of saying, please, for the love of God, save for retirement. We don't want you to just bank on Social Security. And in return for doing that, we're gonna give you some amazing tax perks. And the tax perks are that money is gonna grow tax-free growth, and the other thing you're gonna get is tax-free withdrawal. And so, that may not sound like a huge thing, but I'll just show an example here of how that can compound over time. So we'll talk about if you originally contribute each year, and this is, in 2025, you could contribute $7,000. If that were to compound, that initial seed of what you put in 30 years, growing at the historical market rate of around 7%, that $7,000 would be worth $40,000, right? That's why Albert Einstein calls compounding the eighth wonder of the world. And why that's so huge is that if you had to pay taxes on that, as you normally would in a brokerage account, Uncle Sam would take his nice chunk of around 20% of that, 15 to 20%, out for taxes, right? But with a Roth account, the trade, and this is what the Roth part means, is that you get to tax the seed and not the tree. And so this whole amount comes out tax-free, and that's what leads to this kind of 20K in lifetime tax savings. I like to refer to Roth IRAs as like the Ferrari of tax accounts. They just cut through all the taxes. Now, here's the catch. Uncle Sam says this is such a great account that A, you could only put $7,000 a year, and B, if you are a high earner, so I'm just gonna show an example here of a couple that earns more than $230K a year, that's the cutoff. Uncle Sam says, nope, sorry, no Roth IRA for you. So a lot of families come to us and say, I can't contribute to a Roth, right? I'm a high income earner. Now here's where this backdoor catch comes in. Crazily. And I live in Washington, D.C., so I imagine often that this is probably just like an overworked legislative aide who allowed this loophole to happen. But the backdoor part is, what is legal is if you're a high income earner and you move money to a traditional IRA and then move it to a Roth, and this is the part that's the backdoor, that's entirely legal and blessed by Congress. So this is an amazing strategy for a high income earner to save a lot in taxes and put money into a tax-free kitty. Now, there is one catch here, right? The catch is this account, in order to do the strategy, it was set up as a loophole. It wasn't designed to be this way. This account has to be $0, right? And the common things I see for families that is not zero is these kind of come in a few flavors. And it could be a SEP IRA, it could be a traditional IRA, it could be a rollover IRA. If you ever kind of did a rollover coming out of work and moved money from a 401k to an IRA, these could all be non-zero. Now, one thing we can talk with you about is there are actually some elegant and sophisticated ways to get the money out of there without an extra tax bill, but the key catch is we need this to be zero to make the strategy work. Otherwise, we avoid triggering something called the pro rata tax rule. But the big headline all of this is that this is a strategy that has worked really well for a lot of America's most successful families. Peter Thiel, there's a whole piece in ProPublica on him using this, but we want to make sure that your family gets to use this too. Thank you.